Welcome to another deep dive. This time we're going all the way to China to explore Shaolin Arhat Boxing.
Shaolin Arhat Boxing.
We've got excerpts from Arhat Boxing
Right.
by Gengjun, also known by his Buddhist name Shigjun. He's a 31st generation Shaolin disciple, so we've got the real deal here.
Wow, 31st generation. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So we're talking real lineage here.
A long line of martial arts, and these excerpts lay out a lot. We're talking about history,
Okay.
the stances, the hand forms, and even some of the initial movements of the Arhat boxing routine itself.
So we're going to get a real feel for this martial art then.
Yeah.
Not just like the theory behind it, but like how it actually works, how the movements actually flow together.
Yeah, it's like a crash course into the fundamentals of Shaolin Arhat boxing. So where do we even begin with something like this? I guess we got to go back to the source, right?
Yeah. Let's start with some historical context.
Okay.
Shaolin Wushu, that's the umbrella term for the martial arts in the Shaolin Temple, has a history that stretches back over 1,500 years to the Shaolin Temple in Henan province.
Okay.
And within that, Shaolin Arhat boxing is considered to be one of the excellent traditional routines
Okay.
of Shaolin Wushu.
So how did this temple become like the central hub for martial arts? Was it always like that?
Well, it's fascinating how it evolved. I mean, the temple itself has always been a place of worship, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. But over time, it attracted martial arts experts from all over. They came to study, they came to exchange ideas and techniques. And so it became this really dynamic center for the development of martial arts. And that's what's so cool about it. It's not just a static tradition. It's something that's been constantly evolving and adapting over centuries.
That's incredible. And speaking of people who have been part of that evolution, I mean, the author of our source material, Gengjun, he has a pretty amazing background in wushu himself.
Oh, yeah. He's a national Shiji Wushu coach. That's a pretty high honor.
Wow.
He's also held leadership positions in some major Chinese Wushu organizations.
Okay.
And to top it off, he even founded his own Wushu school.
So he really walks the walk. This isn't just like theoretical knowledge for him. This is like lived experience.
Exactly. And you can tell that comes through in the book. The way he describes things, the details he focuses on, it's very practical, very hands-on.
And his training, I mean, he learned from some seriously respected masters at the Shaolin Temple,
Oh,
right?
yeah. He's got the lineage to back it up. And not just that, he's also competed and won numerous Wushu titles.
Wow. So like world-class level skill.
Definitely. He's the real deal.
Well, that makes me even more excited to dive into these stances that we talked about.
Mm.
He illustrates 12 of them in the book. These are like the foundation of Shaolin Arhat boxing, right?
Exactly. The building blocks of everything else. You can't really do much without mastering these stances.
Okay. So let's walk through a few of them and maybe talk about what makes them so important.
Sounds good.
So the first one that jumps out at me is the bow stance.
Bow stance, also known as gangbo.
Okay, gongbo.
This one is all about stability and generating power. Imagine, like, you're an archer drawing back a bow. You have one leg forward, bent at the knee, your other leg extended behind you for support.
Okay, I can picture that. So like one leg is kind of driving forward, the other is anchoring you.
Exactly. And the book is very specific about the distance between your feet. It should be 4 to 5 times the length of your foot.
Okay, so there's like a real method to it. It's not just like randomly spreading your legs apart.
Absolutely. And then even the angle of your feet matters. The toes of your front foot are slightly turned inward, while the heel of your back foot is turned outward. It's all about finding that perfect balance and leverage. And often, you'll have a downward pressing palm with this stance. It's like you're driving force into the ground for even more stability.
Huh. So it's almost like you're rooting yourself, but also ready to spring forward at the same time.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. Okay, what about another stance? Maybe something a little different from the bow stance.
Okay, let's talk about the horse stance, or mabu.
Horse stance, mabu.
This one is classic. You're basically trying to mimic sitting on a horse. Your feet are wider apart this time, about 3 to 3.5 times your foot length.
Okay. Wider stance.
You're sinking your hips down like you're in a saddle. And the goal is to get those thighs nearly parallel to the ground. Your knees should be right over your toes.
Okay. I can see how that would build some serious leg strength.
Oh, yeah. This stance is all about developing a strong, stable center. A lot of power in martial arts comes from that lower body.
So it's not just about being strong, it's about being rooted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like a tree with deep roots, you can weather any storm.
I like that analogy. Okay, so we've got the bow stance, which is kind of like dynamic and forward moving, and the horse stance, which is all about stability and strength. What's another one that maybe brings in a different element?
Let's go with the crouch stance.
Poo-poo.
Crouch stance, poo-boo.
This one's all about agility. Imagine you're like a coiled spring ready to pounce.
Okay. Low to the ground.
One leg is completely bent. Your thigh is practically touching your calf. Your other leg is straight out to the side. And you're leaning your weight towards that bent leg.
So it's like you're almost crouching on one leg.
Exactly. It allows you to move quickly in any direction. You can launch attacks from this stance, do sweeps, all sorts of things.
Okay, so it's about being both grounded and agile. That's a cool combination.
It's about adaptability, being able to respond to any situation.
Okay. Let's do one more stance. Which one should we pick?
How about the empty stance?
Empty stance.
Dubu.
Boo-boo. All right.
This one is really interesting because it's about potential. It's not about being in a powerful position right now. It's about being ready for the next move.
I see. Okay, so it's like a transitional stance.
Yeah, you could say that. So most of your weight is on your back leg, which is bent. Your front leg is extended, but only your toes are touching the ground. Your heel is raised, and that front thigh is horizontal.
Okay, so you're kind of balanced on that back leg. Exactly. And that front foot can move in any direction. It's like you're poised on the edge of action.
I see. So it's like you're gathering energy, waiting for the right moment to strike.
Precisely.
Wow, that's really interesting. So just from these four stances we've got, like a whole range of possibilities: stability, power, agility, and even this idea of potential energy. It's amazing how much thought and intention goes into each one.
It really is. And this is just the foundation. We haven't even talked about the hand forms yet.
Oh, right, the hand form. So this is how you actually use your hands to attack and defend. Yeah.
Exactly. And there are a lot of different forms, just like with the stances. They each have their own purpose and application.
Okay, so can we walk through a few of those as well? I'm curious to see how this all comes together.
Absolutely. So let's start with something basic. The fist. Quan.
Quan. Okay, like making a fist with your hand.
Yeah. The most common type is the flat fist. Ping quan. This is what most people think of when they imagine a fist. You curl your forefingers tightly into your palm, and then you press your thumb across the knuckles of your index and middle fingers.
Okay. I've definitely made a flat fist before. It's like a natural way to make your hand into a weapon.
Exactly. It's simple but very effective.
Okay.
But then you have fists that are more specialized, like heart-penetrating fist.
Shin Quan.
Okay, heart-penetrating fist. That sounds a little more intense.
Yeah, this one is designed for targeted strikes. You curl your forefingers, but this time they're loose. Your middle finger sticks out a little bit, and then you press your thumb onto the end joint of that middle finger.
So it's almost like you're focusing the force of the punch into a smaller area.
Exactly. It's for precision striking.
I see. Okay, so we've got fists. What else is there?
How about palms? Zhang.
Palms. Okay, so this is using an open hand.
Right. There are a lot of different palm forms. One common one is the willow leaf palm, Lu Ye Zhang.
Willow leaf palm. Okay. You hold your forefingers together nice and straight, and then you tuck your thumb inward towards your palm.
Okay, so it's like your hand is shaped like a leaf.
Exactly. It's a very versatile form. You can use it for blocks, strikes, even some grappling techniques.
So it's not just about hitting with it, it's about manipulating and controlling as well.
Precisely. Then you have palms that are more aggressive, like the tiger's claw palm. Hu Zhao Zhang.
Oh, tiger's claw. That sounds pretty fierce.
Yeah, this one is all about grabbing and tearing. Your 5 fingers are spread apart, and you bend them into a hick shape, like a tiger's claw.
Okay, I can picture that. So you can use it to grab someone's arm, their leg, even their throat.
It's a very powerful technique, and it speaks to the animal imagery that's often used in Shaolin Wushu.
Right, like drawing inspiration from the strength and agility of animals.
Exactly.
What about another type of hand form, something different from fists and palms?
Let's talk about hooks. Gu.
Hooks, okay.
The most basic one is simply called the hook hand. Gu Shou. You bend your wrist inward, and then you draw your 5 fingers in naturally, with your fingertips touching.
So it's like you're making a hook shape with your whole hand.
Exactly. It's used a lot in Wushu for all sorts of things. You can hook onto limbs, you could use it for strikes, you could even use it to trap an opponent's weapon.
It's like a multi-tool.
Yeah, you could say that. And then you have hooks that are more specialized, like the mantis hook, Pangling Gu.
That's this hook.
Okay, so another animal reference. Right. This one is based on the movements of a praying mantis. You bend your wrist upward, and then you bend your ring and little fingers inward. Your forefinger and middle finger are turned inward, and your thumb presses on the middle joint of your forefinger.
Wow, that's a lot of specific movements. It sounds almost like you're making a claw shape with your hand.
Yeah, it's like a very precise claw, and it's a very powerful technique, especially for strikes.
I can imagine. So we've got stances and we've got hand forms. Now, how does this all come together in the actual Arhat boxing routine?
Well, the Arhat boxing routine is made up of 61 distinct movements.
61 movements. Wow.
And it's not just about brute force. It's about combining forceful movements with graceful ones, quick actions with slow ones.
Okay, so it's like a dance almost.
In a way, yes. And the book also mentions that it has a distinct Buddhist flavor.
Buddhist flavor. What does that mean exactly?
It's hard to say for sure, but it could refer to the principles of mindfulness and inner discipline that are often associated with Buddhism. Maybe it's about finding a sense of peace and focus even in the midst of combat.
That's really interesting. So it's not just about fighting, it's about something deeper.
Exactly.
Okay. So what do these 61 movements actually look like? Does the book give us any details?
It does. It lays out the entire routine in
Mhm.
sections, and each movement has a specific name that describes the action.
Okay, so it's like a choreography guide.
Yeah. And just from the names of the movements, you can get a sense of the flow and the variety of techniques involved.
So can we walk through some of these movement names? I'm curious to see what they sound like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So section 1 starts with the preparatory position. That's pretty self-explanatory.
Right, getting ready to start the routine.
But then right away, you have Arhat worships Buddha.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty powerful image.
Yeah. It makes you wonder what kind of movement it is. Is it a bow? A gesture of respect? It definitely sets the tone for the routine.
Yeah, like there's something more than just physical happening here.
Exactly. Then you have separate palms in horse stance.
Okay, so we're back to the horse stance. So it's a powerful stance.
Very stable, very strong.
Yeah.
And with the palms separating, it suggests a pushing or expanding movement.
Like you're pushing energy outward.
Exactly. Then we have fist toward the heart.
Okay, that sounds pretty direct.
Yeah. It's a targeted strike.
Yeah.
And the name itself suggests a focus on a vital point.
So precision and power combined.
Right. Then we have Arhat restrains tiger.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a whole story in itself.
Yeah. It's a very evocative name. It makes you wonder what kind of movement it is. Is it a grappling technique?
Mm-hmm.
A throw? It definitely captures the imagination.
And then there's Arhat hug stamp.
Huh. That's an interesting combination of words. A hug is gentle, but a stamp is forceful.
Yeah, like there's some tension there.
It makes you think about the balance of hard and soft in martial arts.
Right, it's not all about aggression.
Exactly. Then we move on to brush hand and thrust fist in bow stance.
Okay, so back to the bow stance. So versatile.
Yeah. It's a great stance for both attack and defense. The brushing hand could be a block or a deflection, and then the thrusting fist is the counterattack.
It's like a 1-2 punch.
Exactly. Then there's snap kick and thrust fist.
Okay, so now we're bringing in kicks.
Yeah, it's a dynamic combination. The snap kick is fast and surprising, and then the thrusting fist follows through with more power.
And then we have bow step and thrust fist.
Again, using the bow stance.
Yeah.
It's a very versatile stance. This time, it's all about forward momentum and power.
Like you're driving into your opponent.
Precisely. Then there's twist body and thrust fist in rest stance.
Okay, rest stance. That sounds a little less aggressive.
It is. It's a more compact stance, but you can still generate a lot of power with the twist of your body.
Mm.
It's about using your whole body to deliver the strike.
So it's not just about muscle, it's about technique.
Exactly.
Okay, what else is there?
Well, there's parry and punch in horse stance.
Yeah.
So again, using that strong, stable base to both defend and attack.
Okay, makes sense.
Then there's palm chop and side heel kick.
Oh, wow. A combination of hand and foot technique.
Yeah, it's a very dynamic movement.
Right.
The palm chop is a downward strike, and then the side heel kick comes in from the side.
Okay, so you're attacking from multiple angles.
Right. Then there's step back and push palm twice.
So this is more defensive.
It sounds like it. You're creating distance and then using your palms to push your opponent away.
Okay. And then what?
We have insert fist down in T-stance.
T-stance. What's that?
It's a very unique stance. Your feet are close together and you're sort of squatting down with one foot slightly in front of the other. It's a very stable stance, and it allows you to generate a lot of power in a downward direction.
I see. So this is for downward strikes.
Exactly. Then we had tiger tail foot.
Oh, another animal reference.
Yeah, it sounds like a sweeping or whipping kick,
Uh,
like the tail of a tiger.
That's a cool image.
And then we have leg split.
Okay. That sounds pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's all about flexibility and range of motion.
And finally, we have Arhat sleeps.
Huh. That's an interesting one. It suggests a moment of stillness or rest within the routine.
So like a pause in the action.
Maybe. But the book actually provides an illustration for this movement later on. It shows a cross-legged seated posture with specific hand and body positions.
Okay, so it's not just about lying down and taking a nap.
No, it's a very specific posture.
Yeah.
And it could be about more than just physical rest. It could be about mental focus or even meditation.
That's really interesting. So even within this dynamic martial arts routine, there's space for stillness and contemplation.
Exactly.
Wow. So that's just section one. And we've already gotten a glimpse of so much variety and depth in the movements.
And there's so much more. The book goes on to describe Section 2 and Section 3 with even more detailed illustrations.
Okay, so what kind of cool movements do we see in those sections?
Well, in Section 2, there's bow pulling hammer.
Oh, pulling hammer. I like the sound of that.
The illustration shows someone starting in a horse stance and then using their arms to mimic the motion of pulling back a bow and then releasing a hammer-like strike.
So it's like combining two different actions into one fluid movement.
Exactly. It's about using your whole body to generate power.
That's pretty awesome. What else is there?
There's also Buddha's warrior attendant pounds mortar.
Wow, that's a mouthful. And what's a mortar?
It's like a bowl that you use to grind things up with a pestle.
Okay, I can picture that.
And the illustration shows a turn into a knee stance with a downward pounding motion, like you're really using your body weight to crush something.
Okay, so again, it's about grounding yourself and then delivering a powerful strike.
Precisely.
What about section 3? What kind of cool movements do we see there?
Well, there's dragon and trenches on cave.
Oh, wow, another dragon reference.
Yeah, and the illustration shows a low, sweeping movement, like a dragon coiling itself around something.
Okay, so it's a more fluid, circular motion.
Exactly.
What else?
There's Arhat goes down the hill.
Arhat goes down the hill.
Okay. And the illustration shows a crouched stance with a palm strike, like you're descending and then striking with force.
So using your momentum to add power to the strike.
Right. And finally, there's two fists strike horizontally.
Two fists strike horizontally. Simple but effective.
Yeah. And it's performed from a horse stance, so you know it's going to have a lot of power behind it.
Right. Back to that stable base. So from these examples alone, we can see that the Arhat boxing routine is incredibly varied and dynamic. It's got something for everyone. Power, speed, agility, and even a touch of artistry.
Yeah. It's really a complete martial art.
And it's not just about fighting either. The book emphasizes the Buddhist influence, the focus on mindfulness and inner discipline. It's like a practice for both body and mind.
Exactly. And it makes you think about how these principles can be applied to other areas of life as well.
Right, like how can we cultivate that same sense of focus and discipline in our everyday lives?
Exactly. And what other hidden depths might we discover if we really delve into these ancient practices?
It's definitely something to ponder.
It is.
Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of Shaolin Arhat boxing.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time.
See you then.
Bye.